When I scroll through the Rate Your Music forums, I'm always noticing one thing. The album ratings that they have on there completely suck. So, in this video, I have decided that I'm gonna give my own top 20 best albums of all time. This is gonna include some like mixtapes and stuff, and it's gonna include maybe some EPs. I'll have to see, but it's not gonna be strictly albums, but pretty much just albums. Alright, so my number 20 spot is gonna be going to Julie Cruz's Floating Into the Night. I think if you've heard this record before, it's pretty self-explanatory why it's here, but just the pure like feeling that this album gives off and just the emotion in it, especially being connected to something like Twin Peaks, such like a legendary show and stuff, which really, the album really keeps the vibe of that. I don't know, I think it just overall it's very like otherworldly experience to listen to this album, and I think it's definitely a good representation of kind of like that 80s era kind of ambient, not really ambient, but kind of like just moody and otherworldly, once again, kind of atmosphere in albums that I'm a really big fan of. So I'm definitely going to put this in my top 20. It is a little bit high because I feel like it's a lot better, and it's not the greatest thing ever made when it comes to some of the stuff I have further on down, but I think overall it's just a very good album. It has some really good highlights and no lowlights, really. And it's an easy 10 for me the second I heard it, so. Alright, now I think my number 19 spot doesn't really need an introduction. Lupe Fiasco's Food and Liquor. Pretty much the pinnacle of the amazing scene that was the 2000s rap scene. Around that time, you had people like Jay-Z and Kanye West really dropping some heat albums, and then we have this, probably the best, besides one other that is a little bit further down my list. But I think just the beats, the features, and the lyrics, everything all combined is really just an amazing experience to listen to this album. It's pretty unmatched when it comes to just any kind of rap albums. I think this is really the kind of standard of what it is to be like an amazing rapper and drop an amazing rap album. So it's easily in my top 3, top 5 rap albums of all time, and clearly in my top 20 of all time too. So definitely a easy 10 when I listen to it. Alright, so for number 18, we have Tool's Lateralis, or Lateral, I don't know how to say it, but I think this one, I don't really have much of an in-depth kind of talk for. I think just, if you listen to it, you'll know what I mean. It's just a fun listen. It's really good guitar, really good vocals, all of the songs are just really, I don't know, it's just a really good album. This one I don't have much to say about, so. Also, quick side note, I'm editing this right now, and I just realized that I put 3 O's for Tool. My bad. Now, I know this may be a little controversial, but I do, in fact, think that The Wall is the best Pink Floyd album. It's pretty close. I do really enjoy Dark Side of the Moon and Animals, the other two that are usually called number 1. But I think the Wall is far and away the best. I mean, it has In the Flesh as the opening track, which is probably one of the greatest, if not the greatest, rock songs I've ever heard in my entire life. It like blew me away the first time I heard this album and that song. It also has Comfortably Numb, which is another contender for probably like the best rock song of all time. So I think just overall, just everything about this album is just amazing. It's absolute perfection of rock, and of this is the best showing Pink Floyd's ever had. I also think that This is probably the only Pink Floyd album with no skips, I think. Like, all the other Pink Floyd albums have at least one song that I'm kind of like, on. I mean, a lot of them are still 10s, and I'd still consider them amazing albums, overall, but just, like, there's always those couple of songs I don't really care for, but The Wall didn't have that. The Wall, every single song on it is really just perfect, in my opinion. Um, yeah, one of the easiest 10s I've ever given. Now at number 16, I have one of the most depressing and like devastating emotionally albums to listen to, that being A Crow Looked at Me by Mount Eerie. This was probably one of the most emotional listens I've ever had, just because I don't know, it's just so full of despair in each song. You can really tell how he feels and how much just raw emotion was really put into this record. Each song lyrically is an absolute masterpiece. Mount Eerie's singing here, it's just, this is great overall. It's definitely an album I'd only listen to once or twice, at least in a short span of time, just because how emotionally taxing it is to listen to, considering just the lyrical matter, I guess, and what it's really about. But it's probably one of the best albums about loss. It's kind of up there with those really emotional albums, kind of like I don't really know. I can't really think of anything right now, but it's one of those really just emotionally gut-wrenching kind of albums. So yeah, definitely this is an all-around 10. Now at number 15, one of my favorite albums ever, that being Title Fight's Shed. This is an album I listen to constantly. For the past couple years, I've been a Title Fight fan. I'm a little of a newcomer, but I got really into the music through this album, especially with songs like Shed, and Flood of 72. It's two of my favorite songs. This is a very close contender with their other album, Floral Green, which I also am a very, very big fan of. But I feel like this one takes the edge here, especially with having my favorite song by them being Shed on it. So, I think just overall the lyrics, the emotion, and the amazing riffs that are in this album kind of just bring it all together to be a really easy 10 for me, and definitely one of the best albums of all time. Definitely the best hardcore or post-hardcore album I've ever listened to. And hopefully one day we'll see a Title Fight reunion. We'll see. Alright, for number 14, I have Charles Mingus's The Black Saint and the Sinner Lady. I don't think there's much I can even say. I mean, if you've heard this album, you know why it's here. And if you haven't heard this album, then go listen to it. That's about all I have to say. Alright, for number 13, I'm going to have to go with Siouxsie and the Banshees' Juju. This album has some of the best guitar and just vocal performances I've ever heard in my entire life. From front to back, this album is just an amazing experience to listen to, especially with songs like Into the Light, which is one of my favorite songs of all time. It's just a magical experience, really. I would highly recommend listening to this, especially if you like kind of gothic rock or just rock in general. It's actually amazing. I don't even know. This is an extremely easy 10, and definitely deserving of being in my top 15 at number 13, for sure. Alright, now we have number 12. This was a very close one. It was between Daft Punk's Alive 2007 and Random Access Memories, both of which are amazing albums, but I was leaning more towards Random Access Memories here, just because it feels more like, I don't know, complete, and I feel myself coming back to it more over the Alive 2007 album. So, overall, Random Access Memories is just an amazing experience to listen to. It was one of my first like big like 10 out of 10 albums to listen to back when I first started getting really into music. Um, it just has a lot of really really good songs on there. I mean, all of Daft Punk's albums really do, and all of them are pretty deserving of a really high ranking. But this one especially just has hit after hit after hit, and it's just a really just well put together album. It is a very fun listen. It was a very easy 10 and probably Daft Punk's best record. Alright, moving on to number 11, we have Melanie Martinez's Portals. This is one of my all-time favorite albums. I've listened to it like tens of times. This is an absolutely amazing experience. Every song is an absolute banger. I revisit it like all the time. Melanie Martinez is one of my favorite artists in general. I listen to all of her stuff constantly. She's my top artist of last year and the year before that, and probably this year too. So when she dropped this album, upon listening to it, I was immediately just like bewildered. I don't even know. The experience this album gives you, just from front to back, is amazing. The storytelling is great. The songs are just beautiful to listen to. All of them are really catchy. They're nice to sing along to. The lyricism is really good. It's amazing. It's definitely a path that I really like Melanie taking after ending her Crybaby era, and I'm really excited to see what she comes up with next, because this was an absolutely amazing album, and I could see the next one topping this one even. Alright, officially entering the top 10, we have Kendrick Lamar's Good Kid, Mad City. This used to be my number one album of all time. About, I don't know, 8 months ago when I first listened to it. I'd been a Kendrick fan for a few years prior to then, but I had never listened to one of his full albums before, especially not Good Kid, Mad City, as it always kind of felt like it was kind of too early in Kendrick's career for me to like it. But the second I listened to this album from front to back, I was like shocked. This is a complete just change in what kind of music I like, what I look for in like rap music, and just my opinions on stuff. Like the sheer level of just storytelling and lyricism and everything that's just put into this album that's just completely perfect and amazing is unreal. Like, I don't even know. Sing About Me, especially at the end of this album, or one of the last few songs of this album, is the number one song I've ever heard in my entire life, for sure. It's just such a powerful song with such an amazing amount of storytelling. The lyricism is amazing. The part of the end with Maya Angelou in it is just amazing. It's just overall the album is perfect. I would honestly see this being at number one again, but I have a few albums that I feel like just slightly beat it out. I think for me, what personally puts us at a number 10 position rather than number 1 position, especially seeing as in the future what album we'll see in the top 10, I think this gets set back by a couple songs that just aren't as strong. I think for it to be in a contender to be number 1 or even the number like 5 or even 8 or 9 is just, it has to have every single song be absolutely perfect. And I think with songs like Poetic Justice and Backseat Freestyle, which although I love that song, it just doesn't scream number 1 album to me like some of the other ones that are in my top 10 coming up really do. Which is very unfortunate, because songs like Shireen and Sing About Me and Mad City, all those kind of songs, Money Trees even, are just some of the greatest songs I've ever heard, ever. Especially comes to rap. This is truly like the pinnacle of rap, up there with stuff like T-Pab and Lupe Fiasco's Food and Liquor, which I had earlier on. And just, I don't know, it's just such an amazing album, through and through. Lingua Ignata's Caligula is one of those albums you listen to and it completely changes your life. This was one of the most intense and just amazing listens I have ever even experienced. I don't know. The amount of power that's in each one of these songs that comes from Lingua Ignota is just extremely. Just, I don't know. I think listening to this album is an experience that's like none other. It's just so devastating knowing what it's about and then hearing the amount of just despair but also power and triumph over what she's been through in these songs is just amazing. I don't know. I think this is one of those albums that you should experience in your lifetime. This is one that I would definitely say give it a listen. Just check it out. It's not the easiest listen ever. It's definitely a very harsh and uncomfortable listen at times, but it's just rewarding with how, I don't know. It's truly a piece of art, and I think this should easily be in the top five, even, of my albums of all time, just because it's like none other. It's definitely something that should go down in history of music as one of those kind of albums that is just absolutely powerful and absolutely amazing and just, I don't know. It's an emotional journey, and I don't know. It's just life changing to listen to this one. Coming at number 8, we have The Smiths' The Queen is Dead. This album is one of my favorite albums of all time. It has a lot of my favorite songs on it, but I think really any Smiths record could be in this spot. They're all just simply amazing and absolute perfection of music. Um, but this record especially, having songs like I Know It's Over and There's Light Never Goes Out and Cemetery Gates and Some Girls Are Bigger Than Others, it just, I don't know, the level that this album is at is just so far above other stuff that came out around its time. And just in general, this is probably the best or one of the best rock slash kind of pop records ever made. Like Johnny Marr's amazing guitars paired with Morrissey's amazing and sometimes heart wrenching vocals, and the amount of just emotion uh, and like atmosphere they can deliver in some of these songs. Like the way that some of these songs make you feel, like There's Light Never Goes Out, the raw emotion that I feel listening to that song is inexplainable. It's just such an amazing and perfect track. It's probably one of, if not the best song ever written. It's just, I don't know. This album is just perfection. It's not much else I can even say about it. It's just through and through, from first second to the last second, just absolutely perfect. And it's very hard to find something that kind of meets this level when you're looking at the whole rock and pop scene. They were definitely far above their time, especially with writing such just amazing, and I don't know. It's just kind of, you can't really put it into words. This is how perfect this album is, and some of the tracks on this album are. It's just kind of crazy. Similar to the Smiths, Talking Heads is one of those bands where they're just perfect. Every song they make, every album they make is just amazing. They're all an experience. They're all just show the amount of like musical prowess they have. Um, I don't know, especially this album, being a live album, especially, it is just amazing how just perfect this album is. Just the singing and the instrumentals, everything combined is just amazing. And then to top it all off, we have the track "Cross-Eyed and Painless," which is my personal favorite Talking Heads song. And that live version is just astounding. It's hard to put into words just how amazing this record is, and how like once in a lifetime it is to listen. I highly recommend listening to this. and I highly doubt you'll find any live record that gets to this scale ever. Death Grips is one of those projects that is an absolute phenomena in music. It's kind of hard to explain what's even happening in their albums and this mixtape, but if you listen to it, you'll realize just how amazing it is. From the absolutely insane lyricism in this to the amazing instrumentals slash beats and stuff, and just the production on this is amazing. This is far and away the best mixtape ever, and if you're counting it as an album, then we're looking at the sixth best in my opinion. Because I don't know, just every song on this album is an absolute banger. It's not even, I don't know if fun's the right word to describe this. It's like an out of body experience. It's just an amazing listen. I love Death Grips. I love all their albums. The Money Store and Bottomless Pit were a close contender for this top 15 as well. But considering just how far above Ex-Military is compared to those two is crazy. I don't see Death Grips doing something like this again to this degree. Like this level of amazingness in music. But I don't know. This is definitely just an amazing listen. I would definitely recommend it. It's a great kind of like alternative rap thing. If you're a big rap fan, you want to get into some other kinds of branches of it, this is a great place to go, even though it's kind of hard to get into for some people. But it's just, I don't know, easily deserving of this spot in my ranking, and it should be in yours too. Every once in a while, there is a record that is released by an artist that just absolutely blows everything out of the water when it comes to just absolute perfection in music. And I think Sewer Sluts, We Had Good Times Together, Don't Forget That, is that album. This came as kind of like a surprise to me. I was a big fan for a while when this came out, and just the whole story behind this album and what each song is really about is just so heartbreaking and devastating to listen to. And every song is just so full of raw emotion and just raw despair. And I don't know, with songs like Her and Die Alone and Dissociating and the ending track, Goodbye, just, I don't know, it's just every single thing about this album, every single second of it is just raw emotional power and just perfection of an art form. I don't think there is any electronic album, or any album really, almost, that could really top this for me. This is the first album that I ever really shed a tear to. I found myself in an actual, like, depressive, not really depressive state, but almost like, kind of like, just an area after listening to this album. Just because of how, I don't know, just how devastating it's listened to. I would find myself listening to this album and just crying because it's so emotional and it's so heartbreaking to know what people go through, especially to produce this level of art that takes place in this album. If you know the past and I guess the legacy of Sewer Slut, you'll know that it hasn't had a very good experience with a lot of things. And then looking at this album and knowing that this was almost her last, as she's come back with her new Symphony name, but knowing that this was the way it all ended, and being a fan for a long time up to this point, and then having to hear this and knowing what happened, was just, I don't know. It was definitely an experience, and it's definitely, I don't know. This album is just Words can't really describe what I feel about it, especially considering the stuff it's helped me through, and the stuff that I don't know. This is probably like the easiest 10. This is almost number one for me. If we're looking at just like how much connection I have to an album, this is by far number one. But I do have a couple picks over it, but this is probably the closest I'll ever get to an album that I think is just 100% perfect. I'd like to start off this part by saying Swans is my favorite band. They have been for a while, and when I first heard this album, it really just it kind of blew me away. I think this could probably be number one or number two, honestly. Um, it barely isn't. This album just through and through, every single song is just perfect. It's a journey. It's I don't know. It's really hard to put into words a Swans album, um, without just sounding like you're crazy. But it's just an experience, an out of body experience, that should definitely be witnessed by people. I think this is definitely a very good listen, and if you want to get into Swans, I would highly recommend listening to this, because it's just a beautiful and perfect, amazing album. Continuing the trend of albums that could easily be number one, we have Fishman's live album. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce the full name of this, but all I know is 98/12/28 was the date this concert was, and that day was definitely a amazing day for music, I must say. This album is just truly a work of art. Considering it's a live album, especially this is just like the Talking Heads one, but 100 times better. I I don't think 98% of artists could do in a whole studio with years of time what Fishmans could do on that stage that day. This album is just shocking to listen to. It's absolutely beautifully this made. It's beautiful vocals, beautiful instrumental. There's like I don't know. It's everything about it is just amazing. It feels like I don't know. It just doesn't even feel real to listen to. Knowing that it's a live album and this happened on a stage is just crazy to me, considering just how amazing it is. Every second of it is just absolute perfection. I don't know. It's just really a complete work of art. It's easily the best live album, easily one of the best albums, if not the best album. If I put this at number one instead of number three, I wouldn't even bat an eye. This makes sense to be anywhere really in the top three. It is just amazing. Coming in at number two and tied with number one, we have Swan's Soundtracks for the Blind. This album is an amazing experience. I don't really know how to explain it. I think I am almost begging you to listen to this album. This album is just otherworldly. Every single song on this album is an experience. The field recordings in this, the interviews, the just production on it. Some of the songs, like Her Mouth is Filled with Honey, which is my personal favorite track on there, it just doesn't even seem like a real song. It's just ethereal. I don't know. Words can't really describe this album, or the experience it can bring the listener. I would 100% recommend listening to this. You'll never regret it. It is just amazing. coming in at number 1, we have Kendrick Lamar's To Pimp a Butterfly. This album is what I and many consider to be the absolute pinnacle of music as an art form. There is nothing I have ever heard that quite gets to this level of music. I don't know. Every single verse, every single second, all the beats, all the lyricism, every single bit of this album is just 100% perfect. The listening experience of this album is an absolute roller coaster. It's really hard to put into words the feelings you'll have listening to this. It's just so like funky. It's so like just I don't know. Like you'll be like bumping your head along at some parts. Some parts you'll be kind of getting a little uncomfortable. Some parts you'll be getting a little emotional feeling. Some parts you'll just be happy. I don't know. Every single song on this album is absolute perfection. I could go on about for like an hour maybe about just every single song on this album and just how amazing it is. When you start off the album with Wesley's Theory, which is in itself just one of the best songs ever made. It starts off with this low sample and it just goes up and up and up, and then you have just immediately into what this album's about. You have the symbolism, the lyricism, the funk, the features, the amazing rapping from Kendrick Lamar. You have the amazing production. The production of this album is just outstanding. Nothing I've ever heard comes to this on the production scale, especially. And then you keep going through the songs. You have absolute bangers, like just sonically and lyrically, when it comes to songs like All Right and These Walls and Institutionalized. They just sound good. They are produced amazingly. The lyrics feel like they could have spent a year on these lyrics, it feels like, just writing and perfecting them. It's every single song is like that. It's crazy. And then you end it all off with Mortal Man, one of the best beats I've ever heard. And then you have that Tupac interview, like, well, the fake Tupac interview, but either way, it's still amazing. I don't know. It's really hard to describe my love for this album. I've listened to it maybe 20, 30 times since I've heard it the first time, which is kind of crazy to say, but I don't know. I think if you've heard the album before through and through, you will understand. I don't know. This is so much I could go on about with this album. It definitely deserves all the praise it gets, and it definitely deserves being at my number one, I think, and many others' number ones. I don't know. Kendrick Lamar just has an amazing discography, and this is truly just his number one and the number one of all time, in my opinion. It's just perfect. Alright, so I'm finishing editing the video right now, and I just want to say thank you for watching if you've made it to this point. This is my first time really trying this kind of content. I know I'm kind of bad at talking, and I have a really hard time kind of expressing how I'm feeling about things. This probably all sound like a bunch of jumbled up nothingness and just me ranting, but I don't know. I'm not trying to get this content. I'd love any feedback in the comments if I could get it. And if you like what you see, I'm gonna keep trying to make more content like this. So please, like and subscribe. It would really mean a lot. And yeah, thanks for watching.